How's everybody doing? Before we start, I just wanted to connect to each other a little bit. So maybe if you could close your eyes. That's good. And just slow down. Just a little bit. Wherever you are, settling in. You and I were just going to spend a little time together and share some thoughts, ideas, and hopefully we can connect on some level. You can relate to what I say. Don't know what that is exactly yet. And hopefully I can feel you with me, which helps me. So just open your eyes. And this morning, in the early hours of the morning, I woke up. Heart was racing, tachycardia, frightened. It was a nightmare. And I don't really remember much about that nightmare. All I remember is a padlock. And that stayed with me in the morning. I must have drifted off back to sleep, but that feeling of being locked down, which is literally what it is, was with me when I woke again. And so I guess all of us are going through different experiences, and stuff's coming up for us because of the situation we're in. And I realized something this morning, really, about that feeling of being locked down and the feeling of choices being taken away from me relate to me more so because of my past. A few of you probably know my history, and when I was 26, I was diagnosed with cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was a long battle to get through that time. There were times during that time, I was only a baby, I was 26, so I'm 57 now. It was a long time ago. So there were times when I just didn't want to be me. That's the truth of it. During that time, if I could have run away, I would have run. I remember being in the hospital, there was a window open, and thinking it'd be easier just to jump out the window than face what I was facing. I was frightened, terrified. Eventually, lots of things, my history is there for people to read through, and a lot of it's in the book, in the Company of Harry. I was frightened, and it was a long process to recover. I went to yoga and all kinds of things, healers, and all of that set the precedent for who I am today. But I still have them demons within me, and the lockdown has probably brought that to the surface more so. During that time when I was ill, my freedom was taken away. I was so ill at one time, and I couldn't walk up the stairs. I was so exhausted. And if I did try and go out one day, the next day I'd be in bed for a week. And the truth was, I was 2 years, more or less, on my back. And during those 2 years, there was no one around. My ex-wife would take the kids to her mom's, go to work, and then come back to her mom's, and then come home. But it was always late at night. So sometimes I'd have 9, 12 hours on my own with no one. I get the own phone call, but generally, a lot of that time I was alone. And I had to reach for something or someone. And that's where my meditation became strong, because I would stay in the presence of Harry, as I know him now, and that connection to the divinity, call it what you like. for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day sometimes, because it gave me comfort. I felt as though I was never alone because of that presence. And some extraordinary things happened to me during that time. But on a physical, emotional level, that fear of being contained and not surviving on some level still with me today. Even every Christmas time now, even 31 years later, there's a part of me that wants to make it to Christmas. I mean, it's not as, to the extreme it used to be, but it's still there. I'm bringing this up because I know that all of us have these things that we're working through, and it's perhaps much more intensified now because of the situation we're in. So when I was in, I couldn't go out because I was physically not well enough to. I mean, that battle was 7 long years before I started to fully recover. It's a long time. So any constraints that I feel now where they keep me confined, because my well-being is on some level associated with me going out. So if I can go out for an hour and drive or go to the center or wherever I need to go, on some level, deep psychological level, it anchors me to that feeling that I'm okay, because I fought for that for such a long time. And so the constraints around me now of all of us of being locked down have brought these things up to me. So I read that realization this morning of the nightmare, and then it left me with a feeling of anger, frustration, that coupled up with, I'm not allowed to work with people, which is what I love to do. With him and picking him up from Costa and giving him a love. I miss all of that. I miss my sister, my sisters, I do. And that being able to touch them physically, I miss. That coupled with, income, not as much income, the way we've got to change work. The last week I've been trying to sort out some online stuff. I had a friend who rang me and said, "How are you getting on, Stuart?" I said, "I'm all right. I'm just trying to maybe do some online work." And he showed me a picture of what he's got, and his stuff looked like some out of a film set on the Steven Spielberg cinema. I mean, I thought, well, I've got a camcorder. So all these things come to my mind, and just think, well, they bring home certain things within me. That's the truth of it. And I'm sure if you're honest, everybody's the same. And I am honest. So I wanted to share this with you because I'm going to do some things that help me settle, which I do as best I can. Because I know that the space we live from defines the outcome. And especially with men, what men tend to do when they're stressed is they withdraw. It's in our DNA. We withdraw into caves. On some level, it's a primitive response. In that fight or flight, men withdraw into caves. Women tend to like to talk and be heard. But if a man is in the cave and his partner wants to talk, and then there's going to be some conflict there on some level. It's just the way we're made. So for me to step into that place of being peaceful and more at peace with myself, I'm going to do a few things today. And I'm sharing this with you because I imagine each of you, all of us have our challenges. That's true. So there's some techniques that we can do to settle ourselves down. And there's something we'll do with you, a lot of you will be familiar with, and an EFT or TFT and different techniques like that. So nature put within the system certain acupressure points that we can tap into that help alleviate those memories or the association with those memories. So you want to join me, that'd be good. And so all I want you to do is think of something at the moment that's come up for you. Whatever it is, if it's fear, anger, a bit of depression, and we'll find a way through, you and I. So just think of that feeling. What's it brought up for you? Where do you feel it in your body? Or is it in your body, in your head, your heart? Where do you feel it? So if I was doing this with you in the room, the feedback would be important to me. But we'll make some inroads and see what we can do. So back to that feeling. I just want you to tap here. You can close your eyes for a second or two and just keep tapping and thinking of that feeling. Whatever that feeling is for you. These are really simple techniques that you can do. We can do. So think of that. How it makes you feel. And just tap here, the corner of your eye. Again, you can close your eyes for a second. And just think of that feeling. So for me, it'd be anger. About being locked down, not being able to have the freedom, makes me feel angry. Brings up those feelings of the past for me, when I wasn't allowed to go out. So feeling angry. Yeah, tap the corner of your eye. Again, whatever that feeling is for you, you can close your eyes for a sec. Okay, under your eye, tap. Think of that feeling. See if an image comes up or a memory comes up, and just tap. Under your nose, just tap. Think of that feeling. Any memories associated with it. Under your lip, tapping. Your collarbone. Yeah, that's it, just on your collarbone. Focus on that feeling. Under your arm. And maybe on the top of your head, just in the middle of the head, tap. Think of that feeling. Okay, your hand. So, your middle finger, just tap on the end. Just tap here, the little finger. Close your eyes. Still with you. Just tap again. Side, the eye. Think of that feeling. Under your eye. Think of that feeling. Missed a bit out, but there you go. That's okay. Sometimes on a level, we miss these points out. So for this one, maybe I don't really want to see the truth. So subconsciously, maybe I'll miss that point. I don't really want to see it in me. And tap again. Under your nose. Get that feeling. Yeah. Under the lip. Collarbone. Under the arm. Top of the head. Middle finger. Just on the end. Finger. There are a million ways to do this, by the way. Just one of many. Close your eyes. Still there. So tap. Corner of your eye. Side of the eye. Under the eye. Nose. The lip. Collarbone. Under the arm. Top of the head. Under the finger. Little finger. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Starting to change. Corner of your eye. Think of that feeling, if you can. Here. Under the eye. Nose. Lip. Collarbone. Under your arm. Top of the head. Imagine, I want you to almost put your hand towards me. We can do this like this, but there you go. Okay, I'm going to tap. I just want you to tap here. I want you to look down to the left. Keep your head still. Look down to the left. Look down to the right. Circle your eyes in a big circle one way, and circle your eyes in a big circle the other way. I want you to hum jingle bells. Count to 5. Open your eyes. Sit back in the chair, wherever you are. Close your eyes. Okay. I'm going to do a big circle. You can see this big circle as best I can get on the camera. And I want you to think of that same feeling, if you can, that negative feeling. And we're going to see if this works, because obviously, if you're with me, I'd get more of a feel. I could stop, but I want you to. I'm going to move my fingers in a clockwise way. I want you to think of that feeling, and I'm going to see if I can pick up when you think of that story. I think it's there. Okay, just think of that story in the past, that feeling that makes you feel not so good. Keep thinking of it. And in a minute, I'm going to do my fingers in the other direction. Okay, keep thinking of that now. And it should reduce or go away. Move my fingers in a different direction in this circle. I want you to think of something really beautiful in your life, and when you've got that feeling, can be anything or anyone, something really that you appreciate, something really beautiful. There we go. So think of that feeling, how it makes you feel, a good feeling. Is it a person? Is it a situation? Something you're really grateful for? Really bring that to the surface. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to blink as quick as you can, but carry on thinking about that feeling for now. All those wonderful feelings, that appreciation for whatever it is, your kids or your partner or whoever, a situation you're in, that you can eat, whatever, something really beautiful in your life. And now I want you to blink. Keep blinking, blink, 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 back to that spot. Okay, I'm going to take you away again. Think of that beautiful feeling, that really good feeling that you've got, and blink, 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 blink your eyes, blink, 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 back to that feeling. And again, that nice feeling. Okay, all those good feelings that you've got, and blink, 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 blink. Close your eyes. What's changed? Do you feel more centered? A little better? You can do this over and over again. There's never one way. Practitioners, people might tell you there's one way. There's never one way. There's your way, my way. I remember years ago, a good friend, a really old man called Henry Simons. It's a great man, passed away some years ago. And I'd go over to him. He was a great businessman. He had garages and all kinds of things, but he lived an extraordinary life. I remember him saying to me, he had an issue at the centre once. I wanted to sort out, and sometimes I'd go to him and have a chat with him about business. And I had a dilemma I had to sort out, or thought of this. As with everything in the centre, the honest truth is, I look at the divinity or God, or call it what you like, as my business partner. But at this time, and sometimes, like everything, I get drawn into certain things. So I went over and seen him. I was talking to him about this problem, and he said, Stuart, look at me. People do whatever they want. Went over my head. Stuart, look at me. People do whatever they want. I think one of the best bits of advice I've ever heard. It's true. All the advice we can give to each other, or all the advice that's been given to me, in the end, I've done what's right for me. It's not like I don't appreciate the advice I do, and so do you. I know you do. So it's like this sharing. I can share with you one or two things that may help, things that I do myself, like I just have, because of the way I was feeling. And I've told you the truth on that. A big part of my foundation was pranayama yoga, as most of you know. And so the breathing exercises are still, and the philosophy, which I've never strayed away from. I've applied it all. And that's the truth of it. Do my best. And that's the truth. So I'm going to introduce you to a breathing exercise that a lot of you will be familiar with. And on that same process of tapping, and using the eyes and the connection with the eyes and the brain and memories, just to settle ourselves down. And this particular breathing exercise, I'm going to show you two, I think. Alternate nostril breathing, so you can join in with me if you want to. And this is almost like a natural tranquilizer. You know, every emotion that we have is connected to the breath. So the breath is stronger on the left side than the right side every 15 minutes since the day you were born. And sometimes when we're emotionally or physically down, then one side will be blocked. And so by applying some of these breathing techniques, we can change the mind. It's the thread. Why? Because mind, body, breath are connected to spirit. But each of these are aligned. So begin by closing off the right side of the nostril and breathing in through the left. Close the left side of the nostril and breathe out through the right. Leave the hand where it is, breathe back through the right. Close the right nostril and breathe out through the left. Hopefully you're following this. Keep the hand where it is. Breathe back through the left. Close the left nostril and breathe out through the right. Leave the hand where it is. Breathe back through the right. Close the right nostril and breathe out through the left. And carry on. Your own pace, your own rhythm, just for a minute or so. How you feeling? A little bit better? A little bit better? Okay. So there's another breathing exercise that I think I'll show you called Ujjayi. And here the thyroid parathyroid. When we bring this into balance, relaxes the system. I don't know if I can demonstrate it on here, but we'll have a go. So I want you to imagine that you're breathing in through this area here. And you close off the epiglottis or close off the throat part. So you make a noise. Should almost feel like you're breathing in and breathing out through that area. So you'll breathe in and almost blow it out. It takes a bit of practice, I think, but should we give it a go for a minute? So you remember, imagine like you close your eyes, you're breathing in through this area and blow it out. You see the endocrine system, especially the thyroid. The thyroid gets out of balance when we're in shock, for sure. So again, this breathing exercise can bring balance to the system. And actually, if you did this for 20, 30 minutes, your whole body will just feel totally relaxed. But you can have a go, and if it suits you, practice, and if you don't, that's fine. Anyway, let's give it a go. What's that? Close your eyes. How you feel? Maybe a bit more settled. You can practice and do this as often as you want. Let me show you another simple breathing exercise. There's an organisation called Heart Math Institute, and they did ever such a lot of research on the neurochemistry of the heart. And what they said was the neurochemistry of the heart overrides the neurochemistry of the mind. It resonates 60 times more powerful than the brain. So sometimes when you're in anxiety mode, just to bring your energy down to here, and a certain breathing exercise, which is breathing in and out for 5 and having a sense of appreciation. The neurochemistry here tells the head and the mind everything's okay. It's quite an amazing thing. But the honest truth is, long before Heart Math Institute got hold of it, and they've done a fantastic lot of research because it's all scientifically validated, but yogis were practicing this 6,000 years ago. So when we can bring the sense of appreciation to here with this particular breathing exercise, in and out for 5, it settles the system down. You go into a state known as heart coherence. And heart coherence is the optimum state for relaxation. And I genuinely believe all great healers in the past, Jesus Christ and lots of other healers, they've been in that space 24/7, because actually when you're in coherence energetically around you, you transmit this feeling of peace. And also when you touch someone, when you're in coherence, you send them into coherence. Isn't that amazing? You can research it. There's a lot of science behind it. But look, yogis have been doing this for 6,000 years. So we can have a little go if you want to. And It's really simple, and you can choose one of these breathing exercises. Watch the video back if you want to, or pick one and see if it works for you. And I say the honest truth is there's never one way. There's your way, my way, and we find our way, don't we? So close your eyes just for a minute. And simply become aware of your breath. And the rise and the fall of the stomach as your breath enters and leaves the body. And any sounds, any thoughts come to your mind, just leave them. And just watch your thoughts. See when you're no longer trying to control them, they jump from yesterday back to today and on into the future. Become a detached observer of your thoughts. Watch them. As if there were clouds drifting across the sky. Just settling down. Feeling your feet firmly on the floor. Relaxed. Let go. In the front of your legs and the calves of your legs. Relax. Let go. In the thighs and the back of the thighs. Relax. Let go. In the lower part of your back. In the stomach. Relax. Let go. On the upper part of your back. And your shoulders just ease down very slow. Relax. Let go. In the back of the neck. In the back of the head. On the top of the head. On the forehead. And all those little muscles around the forehead. Do some. Relax. Let go. Your eyes. And the cheeks. And the mouth. And the jaw. And down to the throat. And down towards the heart. Open. Relax. Let go. And imagine the breath coming into your heart space. And breathing out through that space. Breathe it in. And breathing out. And breathe it in. And breathe it out. Imagine this most incredible, beautiful doorway within the heart. Open it. Let this beautiful energy in. Through the breath. That's good. And then begin to count the breath in. And count it out. Through the heart. And begin to take hold of that thread, the breath, and count it in for 5. And count it out for 5. That's good. Gently. I want you to think of someone or something you're grateful for. It can be a person, a situation, anything. For me, now, I can imagine a person, my grandson, munching him up, giving him that hug, that love, whatever it is for you. Hold it close to your heart and feel that sense of appreciation, that gratitude. Breathing in and breathing out. How does it make you feel? Relief. And bathe in that ocean of total relief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Breathing in. Feeling totally locked into your heart, that feeling. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like almost you're giving it the most beautiful hug, that feeling. Hold it close. Keeping the rhythm. In and out for 5. Keep hold of it. Beautiful feeling of relief. Thank you. Open your eyes, relax. How do you feel? I feel a bit better, calmer. So after this video call, whatever it is, I'm going to do a bit more. Maybe choose 1 or 2 of those things that I've shown you and apply them. So there's always something we can do. And like Henry said, everybody does whatever's right for them. People do whatever's right for them. But I'm hoping I can help you and share 1 or 2 things as we continue. I'll tell you a little story though before we kind of wrap this up. I've got a man who comes here called Michael Chapman, and Michael Chapman is a healer, and his dad George Chapman, very famous healer, around the same time as Harry Edwards, and apparently they had a great rivalry. These two great healers years and years ago. So Harry Edwards, who my book's based around Harry Edwards in the company of Harry, and so George and Harry were great friends. Eventually, they were great friends. So I rang Michael the other day. He lives Wales, miles away. Hey, how you doing, Stu? Well, you know, business is on hold, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. I feel a bit fed up with it all. You know, I go on Facebook and I see all these stories, and yeah, like everybody else, feeling no different from anybody else at times. And he said, just before you rang, and he said, that was just before you rang. He said, I put my hand on my head for some reason. He said, and I saw my dad and a baby in blue light, and then you rang. He said, take yourself off 15 minutes. I'm going to go into the office, and the office is where George did healing. And you can Google George Chapman, Michael Chapman. So George Chapman, he channeled a man called Dr. Lang. It's a fascinating story, make a great film. So George Chapman's daughter passed away. And this is public knowledge, you know, he's wrote many books on it, Surgeon from Another World and so forth. But anyway, you can research that yourself. So how George got into this was because he wanted to understand why his daughter had passed away. Not just that, obviously, but wanted some peace, I guess, really. So he started to channel Dr. Lang, his surgeon, and proved it. He went to London Hospital years later, and all the surgeons who knew Dr. Lang asked George Chapman when he was in this state of channeling. And George, as Dr. Lang, told all these surgeons personal things. And even Dr. Lang's daughter was there. And she said there's things there that nobody knew. Nobody knew. So George had a letter from a hospital in London validating who he was anyway. That's a story in itself. So George and Michael channeled, were the only two medium psychic surgeons who channeled father and son from spirit. So George has been coming here for, I don't know, 8 years. We've been open 10, so 8 years. And that was a brilliant story how he came. He was online one day, and he just saw us on the website and saw the centre and said to his wife, I've got to go down there. So drove 3.5 hours on a whim. And I happened to be here that day, just by coincidence, which we know is God's way of remaining anonymous. So I rang him, said what I said, and he had this, whatever it was, this insight just before I rang of his dad and a child and the blue light. So he said, take yourself off 15 minutes and I'll send you some healing. So that's what I did. I lay down for 10, 15 minutes and felt a certain comfort, but not much more than that, if I'm honest with you. But that was enough. I was grateful for that. And then on the evening, I went out for a walk with a wife and dog, and it was something lifted in me. And the only kind of thing I've got to relate to that was something maybe 30 odd years ago, where I was very low because of the illness and so forth. And it was almost like I could see for the first time the trees and everything else, this sense of appreciation, which has never really left me. I move away from it from time to time, get drawn into life, but that sense of appreciation has never really left me. So anyway, it was akin to that. So I said to my wife, it's like I can see for the first time. I've just come out of something, and I had. And I honestly believe was down to the distant healing Michael Chapman sent me. So driving here this morning, and I was going to read some stuff from my book in Company of Harry, and I never quite know how it's going to pan out, but I forgot the book, and then I forgot my glasses. I can't even find them, so I thought, well, I'm not meant to read anything. That's fine. So on the way in, Michael rang me out of the blue, and he said, I was trying to work out what I said to you before I give you the healing about. He had this like epiphany of his dad, the blue light, and a child. I said, yeah. He said, well, actually, a woman rang me today, and she went to see a medium, nothing connected with Michael, and said, do you know a man called, the medium said to this woman, do you know a man called George? Well, Michael said, everyone knows George. She said, but yeah, he said, but tell this man he's done a good thing. She said, and there's a baby and a blue light associated with this George, and a couple of other things that he shared with me. And so he said, I've got to share this with you. And so what he did after that healing session, he sent me something personal from George Chapman. And George Chapman, he said, his dad used to have some coal for good luck, 3 or 4 pieces. And he sent me a piece of the coal. How incredible was that? Something that he absolutely valued, something that was personal to him and personal to George, gives me great comfort. But the thread of all of this story, it almost feels to me, and this is my interpretation of it, that George worked through Michael and let me know he was with me, which anybody who knows me, my big thing is I want to know I'm not alone. And that's why the book came about, really, because it's been my search since I was 7. Something happened to me extraordinary when I was 7 years old. I'll say it was 50 years ago. And then again at 26. And then these sayings have come to me on and off for 20 odd years. And then 3 years ago, a dialogue opened up, like I'm talking to you. And that's what the book and the philosophy is about, the dialogue between myself and Harry Edwards, and a collective group. So you can read the book in 13 and a half minutes. It's 140 odd pages, not a big book. And it's not meant to be read like that. If you stop, open a page, and imbibe some of the philosophy, and that's what I've been doing for 2 or 3 years. It's changed my life. The philosophy has. And in other ways that I can't quite articulate at the moment. It's helped me out, really, I guess. Still does. So that's the story of the coal. I'm really grateful to have this, and the sentiment behind it all is what counts. I always say that, really, so I speak to lots of people and therapists over the years, and do any of us remember the price of this, that, the other? Not really. I can't remember, apart from my car. But I always remember people's good intention, and you can't falsify that. And actually, even this, you can make of it what you like. But my intention from the very beginning has always been good, still is good. I want to help. I've for lots of reasons, lots and lots of reasons that go back in my past. I make no bones about that. My brother-in-law hung himself when I was 21, and on reflection, as mad as it sounds, part of me wish I could have saved him, wish I was the man I was then. Mad, isn't it? So part of me is driven by that, to help people don't get to that state again. You know, I can make my past serve me, and does. It's part of my past, as I said, you know, when we began this, I'm aware of, you know, like the lockdown feeling and my association of going out, and, you know, even now is tied in with my well-being. I know why I do that. It gives me comfort, confidence that I'm well, I'm okay. All these things I'm working through. I ain't no different from anybody else. And if you're not working through something, you're lying. You're lying to me. Because everybody is. Financial, emotional, physical, spiritual. I don't care what it is. That's part of life. So we can share some of these insights, and you can take from it what you want, what's right for you. But hopefully the biggest part of that is that you know I want to help. It's why the centre was born. And anyone I've ever met, most people, they're good people. I mean, look what's happening now around the world. You know, so many people on Facebook, da 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 da, and generally their motives are really good. People want to help each other. That's the truth, isn't it? Anyway, so I can't read you anything because I ain't got my glasses. And I'm going to finish off this cup of tea. It's got a bit cold now. We haven't even got a kettle in the centre. The estates manager, God bless him, bought us a kettle. And so all these things, they make a difference to us, don't they? So I send you my goodwill, each of you. And if you want to, hopefully, God willing, we can be here again next Friday. Do something, whatever comes up. Hopefully you can take some of the breathing exercises. Anyway, you know, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you get on with your day. And if you've got this far, hats off to you as regards to the video, if you ain't cut me off by now. And I'll see you soon, folks. God bless.